Did you know that there's a way to reach the far lands in survival Minecraft using nothing but a nether portal and a bed? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do in today's video. Going to the far lands in survival is one of the funnest adventures that you can go on. It is a crazy journey. You're going to see some insane things, and I would highly recommend that you try going on this adventure because it's just so fun. I've used other methods of this to go to the far lands before, but those have been removed and replaced with an actually easier method. So if you ever wanted to go to the far lands, now is the time before this bug gets removed. This might be your last chance. This is one of the last great bugs of Minecraft Bedrock Edition, so I wouldn't be surprised if it gets removed sometime soon. Mojang has been doing a great job of bug fixing and targeting all of the great bugs that I really like making videos on. The Farlands on Minecraft Bedrock Edition aren't like the ones that you might have seen on Java Edition with the giant cliff faces of blocks. There's actually like 4 or 5 different types of Farlands in Bedrock Edition, and I'll be checking out all of those in today's video. But let's see how this bug actually works. If you're doing this in survival, you need to bring some materials with you, and keep in mind, this is a one-way journey. You will be dying if you want to get back to world spawn. So you need beds, boats, and a lot of everything else in my inventory. You do need to bring an elytra, because that is the only way to travel once you get out there. So we need to start a couple hundred blocks away from world spawn. This portal is at 200 by 200, and that's going to be taking us to 200 in the nether. It needs to be nighttime, and we're simply going to break some fire resistance real quick, stand in the portal, wait a couple of seconds, and then click on the bed. That's going to make us sleep, but also go through the portal at the same time, and then you'll notice that we're at 200 in the nether, and it's a good thing I drank that fire resistance because we dropped out right over a lava lake. So now that we're at 200 in the nether, we're just going to go ahead and build up ourselves another nether portal, and this is going to take us significantly further out in the overworld. One portal travel later, now we're at 1500 by 1500 in the overworld, and we basically just keep repeating this process. So I'm going to go ahead and drop down that portal, step in here for a second, and you don't actually skip the night when you do this because you're only in the bed for a couple of seconds, so you don't even need to wait. I'd recommend starting this process at sunset, that way you can do it much faster. But yeah, as you can see, now we're at 1500 in the nether, and we simply build up ourselves another nether portal. Once we travel through this nether portal, we're going to be taking out several thousand blocks in the overworld, and as you can see, this is where things start to get fun. We're at 12,000 in the overworld. If we keep on doing this trick, this will take us to 12,000 in the nether. Sometimes these loading screens are a bit slow, and sometimes you will end up in the side of a mountain because, yeah, it doesn't really care where it puts you. It's just putting you down anywhere. And then if we go through this nether portal, that's going to take us significantly further out, and now we're actually really far out in the overworld. Still in a cave for some reason, but as you can see, we're 96,000 by 91,000, and this is where we start making really big jumps. So every time you go through here, you're going 8 times further out. So next time we make a jump, we're going to be at 800,000 by 800,000, and the game is going to start breaking down. Right, so I just flew around a little bit so we can get a nice even number. Right now we're at 94,000 by 94,000. Almost go through the portal, then hop into the bed, and now we're going to be at 94,000 by 94,000 in the nether. And suffocating, of course. Oh, we're down at bedrock layer. No, we're at the nether roof. Okay. That's never happened before. You can probably get put on top of the nether if you do this, so maybe be careful with that. And this is going to put us at 752,000 blocks in the overworld, and now the game is actually going to start breaking down. So the game is starting to lose track of exactly where you're at, so when you're walking between blocks, it gets a little bit jittery, especially when you're walking diagonally. You can see the edges of blocks kind of jitter around a little bit. So you guys know the deal from here. Everything is pretty standard. We're going to make another nether portal jump. That'll take us to these exact coordinates, but in the nether. And the next jump we make will take us to 8 million. Assuming these guys don't kill me. Bye. And from 752,000, we're going to go to 6 million blocks out because this gets exponential very quickly. As you can see, we are 6 million blocks out, and I'm actually kind of stuck in the portal because movement gets very difficult out here. Ugh, there we go. Yeah, so jumping up blocks, actually incredibly difficult. I'm holding down the movement buttons, and it's, you know, really hard to move. Now that we're on the surface, as you can see, even the camera is very jittery, and that's why I'm going to stay in first person, because it's not jittery here. Also, this whole time I've been pressing down the movement keys, and yeah, it's very, very difficult to move, which is why you need to bring an elytra. And once you're up here with the elytra, it's still a little bit jittery, but it's much, much smoother. Even just jumping up a block takes a lot of effort out here, so that's why it's honestly easier just to pillar up underneath you, and yeah, that'll save you a lot of time. I would not recommend doing anything out here, because honestly, it's just a mega hassle. But we're going to make a couple more jumps, and that's going to get us out to the very edge of the known universe. I forgot to sleep in the bed. I might be kind of stupid. I'm sorry. Now, you might be thinking that 6 million times 8 is going to take us all the way out to 48 million, but the furthest that you can get out using nether portals is about 32 million. So for this one, we are going to drink the slow falling potion because we're going to be falling through the world. There's literally nothing to stand on. We also need boats. We need to top up on the rockets, and ender pearls aren't going to be very useful to us anymore because there's nothing for them to hit. So this is the final leg of our journey before we reach no man's land, or no man's farmland. No man's farmland. Yeah, as you can see, we are going to be taking some damage here, and it's not particularly easy to get out of this situation, but you can do it. You also notice that we are actually falling right now, so if you get unlucky, you'll be placed inside of a mountain, and there's not a ton that you can do about that. Assuming that you can somehow get out of that and you don't get super unlucky and get placed inside of a mountain, this is what it looks like 32 million blocks out. We happen to land right next to a village, and I'm actually still flying, but we got slow falling, so we're kind of safe for now. But as you can see, we cannot move normally. We have to use the elytra to move, and it's not really possible to go diagonally anymore. We have to go in cardinal directions. And as you can see, we actually do have the lovely cherry blossom biomes all the way out here at 32 million blocks. And another thing that we have is the chasm bug, which also generates out here at 32 million, and it happens to look absolutely beautiful. I mean, check that out. Minecraft is no longer okay. So yeah, this is actually a possible thing to do in survival. I've done it on truly Bedrock. I did it in another video. But of course, if you use creative or commands, it's just going to be so much easier to get out here because you can just be like, teleport 32 million. You might think that this massively inflates your world size, but it actually doesn't because you're not generating that many chunks. Just flying in 1,000 block straight line will generate more chunks than going to the far lands. So you're actually fine to do this on normal survival worlds, and it shouldn't really have any repercussions. This will never cease to be cool. I mean, look how amazing that is. You just got like a weird topographical map of the entire overworld, and it's very low detail. If you get close to any of the blocks, you'll notice that they're not actually 1x1s. So they are 1x1s, but they are larger than the player. So they're stretched out to be about the size of a 2x2. And a lot of things are also half slab, like that cactus right there. So you gotta be on the lookout because you'll notice a ton of really, really, really weird things. Slow falling will also definitely be your friend in this situation, so that you can poke around and see more of the weird oddities of the survival farlands. So pretty much all the terrain does generate normally out here. You can get structures, you can get mobs, but of course mobs just fall through the world because there's nothing for you to stand on this far out. And you can have a lot of fun exploring this, but this is about the end of our adventure. The only way to escape this is to simply let yourself fall through the world, which is actually going to be very slow because I have slow falling. And of course, as you fall through the world, you're going to suffocate because welcome to Minecraft. It just doesn't like you being this far out. It also looks horrible when you're in this view. I don't even know what's happening here. As you can see, now we're actually in the void, and that is how you escape the far lands in survival mode. Basically, you don't. And of course, whenever you make a portal jump, you're going to be setting your spawn. So I'm still out here at 6 million, and I can't really move that easily. It's definitely not that easy you found on Elytra, so be careful. So yeah, keep in mind that when you do this, you are asking for a couple minutes of running to the nearest death source. You might want to put down a lava bucket at your 6 million portal before you jump to the really far out farlands. That way you can actually die a little bit easier. And now let's take a tour of all of the different farlands that you can find in Minecraft Bedrock Edition. We're going to start about 400,000 blocks out because this is where the movement jitter gets a little bit more noticeable. You can start noticing it at around 200,000. Once you reach about 4 million blocks out, you can start finding the chasm glitch. This is where the mountain biomes don't generate and you just get a giant hole going all the way to bedrock. And this is what I showed a little bit earlier with the cherry biome. And yeah, this will continue generating all the way out to 42 million. So there's just no more mountains to be found. If you want to reach this in survival, then you need to follow these jump coordinates right here, and you can start finding these mountain biomes 4 million blocks out. And yeah, basically every single mountain biome will look like this. When it comes to the jitterbug, walking is still possible, but it's getting quite annoying, and also the camera jitters a lot. So keep that in mind if you want to actually play out here. That doesn't mean that the chasm glitch doesn't get more crazy as you go out. This is the craziest one I've ever seen. There's a full ancient city in this chasm and a full mine shaft, and this thing is massive. It's got like at least 20 to 30 different aquifers that generated in it, not to mention all the other deep dark that you're going to see over here. So you can find some genuinely insane Minecraft generation. Once you get a few million blocks out, a lot of blocks will start to be very weird. Like that's a candle right there. You'll notice this with potted plants and other things. A lot of the textures just start to absolutely break. Like those right there are actually fence blocks. I love how it still generated the vines, and it generated them like 100 blocks tall. And here's another ancient city that's like completely exposed, and this time it's not drowned. Starting to think that these are actually pretty common. Keep in mind that once you get to 8,388,608, that is as far as you can walk in survival mode, because as soon as you go to 609, you're gonna start falling through the world, and it's not gonna be a good time. So yeah, you can do anything you want into survival mode up until here, but after this point, you need to fly or be in a boat. Otherwise, you're gonna fall through the world. It used to be that once you reached about 12,550,000 blocks, regular terrain would stop generating. There was a hard cutoff and all terrain would stop generating, and then from there on out, the entire world was pure ocean and bedrock floors. You could find any biome and any structure in these vast infinite oceans. This bamboo is literally two-dimensional. It's not even a pixel wide. There is no bamboo. Actually, yes, there is. Once you get out to 16,777,000, that is when you start entering the stripe lands, and this is where things get really crazy and Minecraft truly breaks down. If you want to reach the corner stripe lands, you need to have your coordinates be unsymmetrical. As you can see, I'm at 9 million by 16 million, and that's how you'll see the stripe lands. If you want to see the corner stripe lands, then your coordinates should be symmetrical, and then you can go from regular terrain to stripe lands to corner stripe lands, all within just a couple blocks of one another. As you can see, we have parallel lines on this side, and then we have also parallel lines on this side, and then they combine to give us this lovely checkerboard pattern, and it's just crazy. The furthest that you can get out using teleport commands is actually 30 million blocks. Even if we try and type like 35 million, it just takes us to 30 million. And also, oh my god, yeah, don't use third-person camera out here. This is the most cursed thing I've ever seen. Oh, that's horrible. So even nether portals can only take you about 32 million blocks out. I have another portal right here, and as you can see, it's going to take us to 32 million. As far as I know, you can't go any further out than 32 million in survival mode, or in creative unless you use some non-standard tactics. The end farlands aren't really anything special. You have all the same jitter issues, but as long as your coordinates are symmetrical at about 9.5 million blocks out, the void stops generating, so you just have a massive super flat of end stone, and it looks really incredible. There's also a ton of end cities out here. If you want to check this out, your coordinates need to be 9,581,000 on both axes. And of course, you can also get the stripe lands and corner stripe lands at the standard 16 million coordinate. As far as I'm aware, there's no way to reach the end far lands in survival mode. The nether far lands is everything that you would expect. The jitter effect is still there. The stripe lands and corner stripe lands are also where you would expect to see them. There's nothing special in the nether far lands. It's all pretty standard. I'm not sure when, but the far lands on Bedrock Edition have actually been changed. Here's some footage of what the end, nether, and overworld looked like before, and as you can see, they were also pretty interesting. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, then drop a like, subscribe, and maybe share it around so that other people can enjoy the far lands as well. And tell me down in the comments if you did actually go to the far lands in survival. I would highly recommend it. It's actually so fun.